Let me begin by asking some very basic questions of all of you. Would you apply to join a company that is making losses? Would you trust a personality that was lacking in credibility? Would you associate with someone who didn't hold you in high regard, who treated you with contempt? The obvious answer is a resounding no. Obviously, viewers, any such association for you would be fraught with negative implications. And that's why today, when the towering political personage of Naveen Patnaik or a satrap who has played a defining role in the politics of the South like Chandrababu Naidu, who is also looking to resurrect his political fortunes, if both these individuals, these satraps, are planning to rejoin the NDA, then we need to stop and ponder the reasons why. We need to ask if the opposition's claims about Modi being anti-federal in spirit, self-obsessed, as they say, to the point of disregard for alliance partners, and, as they allege, morally compromised and therefore unpopular, are at all sustainable. After all, why would leaders that are perfectly placed, very secure in their states, like Naveen Patnaik, for instance, or Nitish Kumar, or even Jayant Chaudhary, why are they ready to risk aligning with such a fading platform and leader? More on that later, viewers. We'll come to those questions in just a bit. But in the immediate, if these alliances fructify, then the BJP-led NDA will invariably and inevitably swell to the size of a leviathan, a behemoth. In other words, a super-sized NDA will have a very good chance of crossing the 400-seat mark, literally marginalizing the India bloc. We have done some simple math to show you how things change dramatically when the NDA expands to include all these partners. Let's talk a little bit about Odisha first. Here, if the BJP and the BJD were to come together, they would have 82.2% of the vote share. Literally, viewers, eviscerating the Congress, which has about 14% of the vote share. In Andhra Pradesh, if a BJP were to tie up with a Naidu and a Jan Sena, a Pawan Kalyan, they would together have 47% of the vote share. The YSRCP, which is the dominant force, it's a breakaway, of course, of the Congress, is at about 49.8%, let's say 50%, viewers. You can see how the margins begin to reduce. And who gets squeezed out? The Congress, with 1.30%. In Bihar, the BJP and the JDU and the others in that alliance make up about 46.67% of the vote. The RJD and the Congress and the left about 25% of the vote. And that's why many people are saying that Nitish Kumar's decision to go back seals the fate of the Gathbandhan, the opposition India bloc, so to speak, in Bihar. In Uttar Pradesh, the BJP already ascendant, but will benefit greatly in certain pockets of Western Uttar Pradesh. And let's not forget, the RLD has influence of the Jat vote. And viewers, that also means that in eastern Rajasthan, pockets of Haryana, there will be a spillover effect. So the BJP and RLD combined have about 51.66% of the vote, the Congress SP and the others 24, the BSP 19. All of that means that the BJP is going to be in the driver's seat. In Karnataka, the BJP has made itself a little more indemnified against damage. They lost the assembly elections last year, so there was a bit of anxiety in the BJP ranks, so they pulled the JDS. 61% of the vote there. The Congress only has about 32%. In all these states, viewers, it's the Congress, especially the Congress, that stands to suffer. Which means the Congress tally, which is 50 plus right now, could come down. And that's what a lot of opinion poll surveys seem to be suggesting. Now, the migration of these satraps towards the NDA prompts certain pointed questions. You remember, viewers, I began with some rhetorical ones, but these are more pointed ones. Will the India bloc continue to say the BJP doesn't respect its allies, with so many top leaders now moving towards the NDA, towards a prospective alliance with the BJP, towards sharing power perhaps at the center with the BJP? Would regional heavyweights join the BJP if it didn't respect the spirit of federalism that is exemplified in the Constitution? These are fundamental questions, viewers, because this is the criticism that the Modi-led BJP has been copying for the last 10 years now. Has BJP proven that its ideology and message has widespread acceptability, even amongst those who position themselves as avowed secularists, for example, viewers? Regional satraps in NDA, a booster for its pan-India appeal. Finally, the NDA led by the BJP will acquire a pan-national footprint. Does the movement towards the NDA indicate lack of confidence in the India bloc? Why isn't it attracted some of these prospective allies? I mean, if the Congress can tie up with parties as inimical to it as the AAP and the TMC and the left in certain states. Remember, Rahul Gandhi, if he contests from Wayanad, will be up against the left, which is an alliance partner, part of the India. Why would it fear having an alliance, let's say, with the BJD or with the TDP in Andhra and in Orissa? Viewers, think about that. Why wouldn't they be saying, okay, let's set our differences aside just to keep the BJP out? Why would an RLD chief be quitting the Gathbandhan, so to speak, the India bloc, to join the BJP-led NDA, and Nitish in the neighboring state doing exactly the same? These are questions, viewers, that we need to ask on the back of these developments. And around 9 o'clock today, Chandrababu Naidu is going to be meeting with the BJP brass, and that conversation could acquire some urgency, viewers. Charu Pragya, spokesperson of the BJP, there with us. Zainab Sikandar, spokesperson of the RLD. Remember, the RLD is one of those parties whose leaders has actually made that transition. So let me just begin with you, Zainab Sikandar. The others don't, of course, need introductions here. Bhanu Chandar Nagarajan is with us. He's a political analyst, Tehseen Poonawala, and of course, the Samajwadi Party's very own Abbas Haider. But let me begin with you first. The question is simple. Many people from the so-called secular ranks say that the BJP's expression, its ideology, its message is divisive, it's anti-certain minorities, it's exclusive. It is also anti-federal, at least their behavior. So why would someone like Jayant Chaudhary, who is very comfortably placed in his little pocket, transcending 3 geographies, why would you want to align with the Modi BJP?
It's simple. We simply want to be on the side which has focus and clarity. And I've said this multiple times, and I'm saying this again as an RLD spokesperson, that the Congress and the India bloc, and I'm not saying this disrespectfully, I mean it, they do lack some clarity and focus, and they're still not sure where to lay their cards, and there's still a lot of tussle. Of course, now they're saying that they've done the seat sharing, and all those talks are done. But for the longest time, they didn't have, any clarity on what they were expecting their alliance partners to do. The biggest problem in that bloc is that nobody is there in a leadership role, and without a leadership role there will be a lot of tussle and a lot of confusion and chaos, which is why our leadership, especially Jayant Chaudhary ji, he decided that it's better to go to an alliance where we can work, especially for our farmers. Western Uttar Pradesh is dominated by, the agricultural sector, and we want to do a lot for our farmers, keeping in mind, the farmer protests also that have been going on, in the recent past. So our focus is mainly And our aim is mainly to do as much work for our people and our region, and that we only think can happen while we are in the NDA.
Okay, so that is from a point of meeting your objectives,
Yes.
Zainab Sikandar. But as you know, the opposition, especially the Congress, continues to attack the BJP with one basic accusation. It says that the BJP doesn't respect anyone besides itself. It's led by a dictator, an authoritarian authority who wants to concentrate powers, doesn't care even a smidgen about federalism, and most importantly, doesn't respect alliance partners.
See, I think this question should be pointed at a BJP Pravakta, but if you're asking me, as someone who has, as a party that has recently joined the NDA fold, I will clearly say that they do respect their alliance partners. I'm speaking from, what we have observed in our party. And I don't know what is the proof for Congress to say this, but if you also see the Congress party, the whole point between the India bloc, the differences between them is because they also don't respect each other in their alliance setup, and they cannot come to a conclusion on seat sharing. In fact, recently you must have heard even in Jammu and Kashmir, the alliance partners, both PDP and NC, are in a tussle right now over the 3 Lok Sabha seats. And National Conference is clearly saying we'll fight all 3.
And in Kerala, you have a problem in Wayanad where the left says, look, we have the first right. So you're saying that
Absolutely.
the Congress is the last to speak. And
yeah, it's very rich of them to say this comment because,
okay.
These things take time.
Okay, so let me just bring in Tehseen Poonawalla straight off and also, of course, Bhanuchandra Nagarajan. First to you, Bhanuchandra Nagarajan, what's the thinking here? Why are we seeing suddenly the BJP lurching towards making these tie-ups? Is it nervous? Because that's what a lot of people will say, that it's not confident. Going in, it doesn't even know if it's going to get the 330, so it needs to stitch up all of these alliances. Is that one of the reasons? Because I'm sure Tehseen will raise that point. So you may as well just get it out of the way.
See, to answer the question, the Prime Minister has given a 370 plus for BJP and 400 plus for NDA. Both are very audacious goals. So I don't think there is any nervousness on the part of the NDA. I think Prime Minister Modi wants to implement Congress Mukt Bharat, and he doesn't want to do it alone, but actually is bringing together a lot of regional players to implement that project. That's the fundamental of it. And why are people ditching the Congress? Because there are 4 or 5 reasons. One is organization, ideology, leadership. None of the big things are working for the Congress. They have not put any new ideas in the last 10 years. If you take our fellow democracy, the USA, the Republicans came up with fresh ideas against the Democrats, right? There's nothing of that sort here. Leadership, you know how it is. In terms of organization, there are no new faces. You can see that, like even for the recent Rajya Sabha elections, they put out Abhishek Manu Singhvi of all people. And even in the manifesto committee, there are no new people. P. Chidambaram is going to come and present the manifesto. And what signal is that going to send to people, right? So I think the Congress is a sinking ship and nobody wants to join that ship. That's the fundamental of it.
Tehseen Poonawalla, one of your previous alliance partners is saying that the Congress lacks focus and clarity and cannot even sit and lecture others on this business of the BJP being any less federated in its outlook. Another analyst is coming out and saying that you lack ideology, leadership, focus and clarity, just as what Zainab Sikandar also just said to us. And there are no new faces, there are no new ideas.
Rahul, good evening. Thank you so much for having me on the show. And at the onset, welcome to Zainab. On the opposite side, I've always been on the same side as her. But let me quote somebody who's a friend of mine, and I want to quote him from the newspaper, from a very respected newspaper. And then I'd like you, Rahul, to guess who this leader is. I think the BJP, I'm quoting inverted commas, I think the BJP likes to portray that its current leadership of Modi ji, Amit Shah ji, Nadda ji, are very large-hearted and they want to embrace diverse leadership and bring in different parties into the NDA fold. When you've seen their work in the last 9.5 years, that is not the case. I continue. In a democracy, you will always have people who come and oppose you, ask questions, fight elections. They are not your sworn enemies. That you give them names like this. It is not demeaning for us. It is demeaning for our voters who voted for us in the past and will continue to vote for us in the future. We have gotten used to these barbs. This is Sri Jain Chaudhary ji. Just August 2023. Yes, then he found the BJP demeaning him. Today, Jainji thinks the Congress does not have ideas, because I can continue to quote, if you allow me, what Jainji says about the Congress. Jainji says about the Congress in the same interview, which is to the Hindu, a newspaper that he gave his interview to. He said that the Congress has a big role to play. It is a well understood brand, and many people across the country are voting for the party, and this time will vote for the party and what the party stands for in the past and in the future. This is Mr. Jain Chaudhary few months ago. Fine, he's changed, and I respect that. He's also a friend of mine, and I respect that he changed. And that's okay. And if Zainab thinks the BJP can bring development in Western UP, that's great.
Yes.
But the idea that the Congress is not on the right track is what that gets me worried and gets me, it riles me up. I'm wondering, if the Congress was not on the right track, did everybody realize this 6 months ago? Did they not realize this at the Hyatt meeting? Did they not realize it post that? When they were giving all these certificates to the Congress and issuing certificates of dictatorship or whatever words that you use, not me, to the BJP? Come on. This is politics. It's hardcore politics. Just a second, I want to finish. Yes, the Honorable Prime Minister wants to touch 370. Yes, he wants NDA to cross 400. So he's doing whatever he can, perhaps with some help from his friends who are also Modi ka parivar. I quote ED, CBI. Okay, I'm not saying that for Jain ji, don't get me wrong. I'm saying that, but individuals he's taking, Jain ji is not under pressure. I'm putting this on record. So he's doing that. Okay, good. Whatever he's doing, Sam Dam Dandet, we have to fight. We know we have to fight him. He's a colossal political force, and we will fight him. But the idea that we are not prepared, I take objection to that. That we are prepared, I accept that.
Can I ask you a counter question? Let's first begin by accepting one basic rule of politics. Everyone is an opportunist. They look for the best deal they can get, right? Can we agree on that?
No, I would not like to agree on that.
No, I don't. I'm not like that.
Okay.
I don't agree.
You're not like that. No, you're not. Your party certainly is. The Congress party is a big opportunist, because when it came to swallowing the wish of Hindutva, they did so in Maharashtra, just like the BJP did in the past in Kashmir, etc. So, look, let's just set aside our little rose-tinted glasses.
You have to.
No, 1 second.
You have to have a large heart to bring the poison, so that you can spread the amrit amongst everybody.
Right. That is what poor Nitish Kumar has done about 4 times now. I mean, I don't know if he has a permanently blue heart.
We've now got an adjective. You've been Nitish.
So 1 second. Yeah, you've been Nitish. Now, hang on. Let me just ask you this, because Tehseen, let's start with the baseline. You said this is hardcore politics. Now, hardcore politicians know which way the political breeze is blowing. Do they not? Would you say they won't?
Most of them do, but some of them make an error of judgment. I can say that Mr. Patnaik right now is making an error of judgment. I can say this confidently.
Yes, so he should join hands with the Congress party.
No.
Listen, viewers, let me tell you something. The Congress has a very peculiar record. Every time it ties up with regional parties, those regional parties, to use the word, get nitished. So maybe, I think the BJD knows very clearly that it certainly is better off with the BJP if it wants to sail in a boat that perhaps will carry it across, right, the river. So, viewers, this is what I'm trying to tell you. That one particular outfit says that the BJP is sinking, it's not connecting with the people, the Prime Minister doesn't have anything new to say, the people don't believe that he has delivered, his guarantees have, in fact, they have zero warranty. If that were the case, you wouldn't be seeing this migration towards the BJP. No one wants to commit political suicide, viewers. So clearly, the Congress has actually read this wrong, and therefore we are asking these questions of the Congress. And I know that Tehseen is upset that we are asking these questions of the Congress, but that is the reason these questions.
It's a democracy. You have a
so
right
let me ask you then the second
upset?
question, because I must spend that extra 3 minutes with you. The charge that the Congress has made many a times, and a large number of parties have also made, which have come back to the NDA, is that the BJP acts as if it owns the NDA space totally, from A to Z, and it doesn't respect the rule of coalition dharma, or even respect its alliance partners and the federated democracy we have. Now, does this charge once again get called into question, Tehseen, after the movement we are seeing towards the BJP by people who have actually something to lose, as you yourself have said? Certainly they don't want to lose their self-respect.
No, no one wants to lose their self-respect.
Well,
That I agree.
Yes.
But there are different reasons why people go. There's a different reason why Mr. Patnaik goes. I don't know why Mr. Patnaik is going, but I
Now,
can
you
tell
don't
you on
know
the show
the
he's making
reason.
biggest-
Maybe
but I'm
the
telling you,
reason
he's
is
making the biggest political
no. That's
mistake
a rhetorical
because
point.
Congress will grow in Odisha.
That is a very
However,
rhetorical point. Speak in
No, it's not a
concrete hard
rhetorical
facts.
point.
It is. He
I
is
am
going
giving you hard
because
facts.
let me tell you, he is going, and let me bring in Charu Pragya. Charu Pragya, why is Mr. Patnaik going to the BJP? Why is he wanting to hold Mr. Modi's hand and perhaps take him across that 400 mark, which would be quite a record?
A very good evening to you, Rahul. Good evening to all my fellow co-panelists and the viewers. Thank you for bringing in after everyone else has spoken, so I can individually respond to a lot of the things being discussed. Let's first do a broad comparison between the NDA today and the non-alliance that India is. In fact, this is the alliance that wanted to call itself India to gain political brownie points, but they're siding with people who want to break up this very India, the idea of India, into smaller little nations, as recently quoted by the DMK leader A. Raja. The difference also is the kind of narrative all these opposition parties and their leaders are setting in their respective regions, and we can go over them. Let's start with West Bengal. In TMC, Mamta Didi is pretending as if the plight of the women of Sandesh Khali is not important to her, but what is important to her is to shield and protect accused who has more than 43 cases to his name currently. In Bihar, Laluji is out on medical bail, but instead of looking after his health, he's out in public hitting Modi ji way below the belt in a personal way, which is completely unrequired, and not even bothering about the fact that the court can take cognizance and say this was contempt of court and put him behind bars again. But that's their narrative. In Jharkhand, the CM himself is behind bars. In Tamil Nadu, I just mentioned DMK and the kind of language the leaders have been using, not against Sanatan Dharma only, not against Hindus only, but most recently talking of states in India like they're independent nations, and that is hurtful. It's hurtful to people across the nation. In Delhi, we have ministers behind bars again. We have an entirely confusing equation between the Congress and the Aam Aadmi Party. And in Punjab, the Chief Minister says, "Ek thi Congress." So already usko write off karke thi bana diya gaya hai. So this is the agenda, the narrative, the conversation that India non-alliance is having currently. What is the NDA doing? NDA is aligning behind the one person whose only purpose is to make sure India progresses, whose only purpose is to discuss and work towards a Viksit Bharat in 2047. And that's why everybody is rallying behind PM Modi. I think historically there are very few instances when a nation is gifted with a leader such as this. And if at a time like this also you cannot choose the correct side to be on, then history is going to blame you forever.
Okay, so let me then bring in the Samajwadi Party spokesperson. In sum, what Charu Pragya is saying is that the India alliance or the India bloc, or call it what you want to, is corrupt Bharat Todo rabble, disorganized Bharat Todo rabble. They're carping against each other, they challenge each other, they want to steal each other's little turf. And that's what we are seeing in Wayanad, we are going to see in obviously, unfortunately, Bengal, in Punjab, in Delhi, perhaps even, who knows. So why then would a Jayant Chaudhary, who has a whole future ahead of him, of the RLD, and Nitish, who still has some credibility left to defend, even if I'm only saying it, why would he and Jayant Chaudhary and the others like Mr. Patnaik want to come to this corrupt Bharat Todo rabble, in the BJP's words? What do you have to offer, Mr. Abbas Haider, except for despondency, divisiveness?
Anand bhai, it is the first time that people who have got ticket of Bharatiya Janata Party, they are returning tickets. This has never happened before with BJP. And once you have asked me about JNG and JDU, so this is the irony of Bharatiya Janata Party and NDA. So the top leadership of Bharatiya Janata Party, I'll come to that question. I'll answer you that question. So they were not giving to appointments of other parties like Akali Dal and other allies of NDA. Now they are running after them and nobody is ready to join NDA. And as far as JNG is concerned, I respect JNG. But how is going to face the people in Western Uttar Pradesh? My fellow panelist from RLD was talking about development of Western Uttar Pradesh. The Bharatiya Janata Party has got a triple engine government in Uttar Pradesh. From past 7 years, they are in government in Uttar Pradesh. From past 10 years, they are in sector. So what have they done for the farmers? Even in JNG's work, there have been 10,000 suicide of farmers in just 1 year. They on an average, Anand Bhai, the income of farmers has got down, but the Bharatiya Janata Party government does not have answer to any of those questions. When the Kisans are asking for the legal guarantee of an MSP, the government is doing nothing on that. But in fact, the Bharatiya Janata Party has to make minister to a person who has said Prime Minister biggest liar in the world.
Okay.
I'm talking about Om Prakash Rajbhar. A day before that, he was saying that I am going to make Bharatiya Janata Party lose in Lok Sabha election.
Okay. So you're saying there are only opportunists who are leaving us, and good riddance to these opportunists. Then Sikandar respond. And 1 second, Haider Saab, 1 second. You're having a McAdams moment. You're having a bit of a McAdams moment. I'm Rahul.
No.
Actually, I'm Rahul. Rahul
Sorry, Rahul. I'm so sorry.
And that's okay. Thoda McAdams aapka bhi ho gaya, magar koi baat nahi. Let me just bring in. Yeah. Okay. Make your point. 30 seconds.
Let me come.
Yeah.
See, Rahul bhai, in 1977, if you remember, the government called a pre-election because they were confident. They were thinking that we are going to, win all the seats in the country. But what happened? Even the top leadership lost. So this is going to happen with Bharatiya Janata Party. The people are joining Bharatiya Janata Party. It will be a political suicide for them.
Political suicide. You're committing political suicide, Zainab Sikandar. We don't want you to do that, says the SP, your former partner, still about, what, a month ago?
Yeah, there's not much time left. We'll see who's making political suicide. But it's very rich of someone from Samajwadi Party to talk like this because, as we clearly know, the Samajwadi Party is in grave identity crisis. And this is not something I'm saying. This is something your own Karyakartas say.
No, but as Mr. Tehseen Poonawala pointed out to you.
I'm coming to it.
Jayant Chaudhary said even worse.
I am coming to it. Jayant Chaudhary ji has said a lot. And I agree to everything Tehseen ji is saying, verbatim, whatever he's saying. But can you imagine how much of a mess the INDI alliance must be in for Jayant ji to turn away from them in spite of saying all these things, which is what I was saying in my previous comment, that the problem is that there's so much chaos within that alliance and bloc that we know that come what may, if they even come to power, we will not be able to do the work that we want to do in our region, which is the reason we went in with the NDA alliance, because we know at least we will be able to work for our farmers, we will be able to work for the Alpsankhyaks, we will be able to work for the... If they win or don't win, at least the alliance respects the fact that we need to do work there and they will allow us...
So you are conceding that you're jumping out of the fire into the frying pan?
Not at all. Not at all. Those are words that you're putting in my mouth. It's
you said at least we know.
No, we know that we will get to work. How can you work in a chaotic alliance? Please tell me that.
Okay, so viewers, here it is. These are stakeholders telling their previous partners, you got a problem. We don't even need the BJP in this debate. I don't know why. I gave Charu Pragya 3.5 minutes to speak. Charu Pragya, but make your point very quickly because once again...
one line.
I'll
be very quick and I will refer now to the point made by Tehseen. You know, everything that the Congress had planned, the Indy non-alliance had planned was good in theory. They've only been speaking theoretically since the day of their inception till date because they can do meeting after meeting. But at the end result is, forget about seat share, they don't even know what their common minimum program is and what are they working towards really.
Maybe
it's
it is
a very
common,
misguided
too common and too
with
minimum.
Rahul ji walking across the country.
Okay, I've run out of time. I get the drift. Too common and too minimum is what the BJP is saying. Well, viewers, the ball as always is in your court in a democracy. The questions have been posed. We can all ponder them. I began by asking you these questions. I'm going to take a short break. We'll be back in just about 3.5 minutes. A big story coming up. Don't go away.
साल बाद आपके मैं कोशिश करता हूं, मैं एसपी जी के लोगों को बोलता हूं, बाद में आपको इस तरफ ले आएंगे, जरूर मैं आपके साथ सेल्फी लूंगा।
शुक्रिया सर, थैंक यू सर, थैंक यू। जिस टाइम पे मुझे ये 60,000 रुपए मिले, मेरे घर वाले भी बहुत खुश हो गए, मैं भी मोटिवेशन से फुल ऑफ पावर हो गया कि मुझे 60,000 रुपए मिले। और धीरे धीरे करके ये सफर मैंने सर आगे लिया और धीरे धीरे करके मैंने 200 बॉक्स अपना कायम किए। वो 200 बॉक्स कैसे हो गए? मैंने उस टाइम पे एक सहारा लिया PMEGP का। PMEGP के तौर मुझे 5 लाख रुपए मिले और मैंने अपना एक कारोबार बढ़ाया। और 2020 में मैंने सर अपनी वेबसाइट खोली और वेबसाइट खोलने के बाद धीरे धीरे मेरा एक बड़ा ब्रांड बन गया। और ब्रांड बनने के बाद हमने ऑनलाइन हजारों केजीज के शहद भेजे। मेरी वेबसाइट पे 2023 में 5,000 केजी शहद बिके हैं। और धीरे धीरे करके ये सफर आगे बढ़ा सर। मैंने 2000 मधुमक्खी के बक्से बना लिए और मेरे साथ मैंने अकेला ही काम नहीं किया। मैंने सोचा खुद ही मैं अपना बेनिफिट नहीं लूंगा, मैं और को बढ़ावा दूंगा, अपनी यूथ को इसके साथ जोड़ूंगा। धीरे धीरे करके मेरे साथ लगभग 100 बंदे सर जुड़ गए जो ये मधुमक्खी का काम करते हैं। 100 जोड़ने के बाद धीरे धीरे मैं सर आगे बढ़ा और 2023 में मुझे सर FPO मिला। और FPO के मिलने के बाद अब हमारे पास सर कोई टेंशन ही नहीं। अब तो हम FPO के थ्रू मार्केटिंग लिंकेजेस, एक स्टॉल लगाने पर सर हमें एक स्टॉल में हमने 1-1 लाख रुपए कमाया। और वो भी सर डिजिटली। हमें दिक्कत होती थी पहले जब एग्जीबिशंस में जाते थे, 1 लाख रुपए जेब में कैसे घूमते थे सर, क्योंकि आज हमारा UPI सिस्टम है। आजकल हमारी 98% पेमेंट डिजिटली हो रही है। तो डिजिटली ट्रांसफॉर्म होने के बाद सर उसके साथ हम भी आगे बढ़े, देश के साथ हम भी सर आगे बढ़े। थैंक्स सर।
नाजिम जी, जब पढ़ाई करते थे तब क्या सपना था?
सर जिस टाइम पे मैं 10वीं जमात में था तो मेरा सपना, पहले घर वाले मुझे बोलते थे आप डॉक्टर बनो, आप इंजीनियर बनो। तो मैंने घर वालों का मैं नहीं सुनता था। मैंने सोचा सर मैं अपना दिल का सुनूंगा। तो मैं जब 2 बक्सों के पास गया था तो मैंने सोचा नहीं, मुझे डॉक्टर और इंजीनियर में इंटरेस्ट नहीं है, जो मुझे खुद लगे मैं वो करूंगा। और धीरे धीरे के सर करके मैंने अपना मधुमक्खी का काम संभाला।
परिवार आपकी क्षमता को जानता था, आप डॉक्टर बन सकते थे, लेकिन आपने वो रास्ता नहीं चुना और आपने एक प्रकार से स्वीट रिवॉल्यूशन, हमने ग्रीन रिवॉल्यूशन सुना है, हमने व्हाइट रिवॉल्यूशन सुना है। आज मेरा कश्मीर नाजिम जैसे युवाओं के कारण स्वीट रिवॉल्यूशन का नेतृत्व कर रहा है। बहुत बहुत बधाई। अच्छा नाजिम जी, आपकी इस पहल में जैसा आपने बनाया, सरकार की योजनाएं रही, लेकिन शुरुआत में शायद सरकार में योजनाओं का लाभ लेने में दिक्कत आई होगी, या सरलता से आपको समझ आया, मिलता गया?
सर 2018 की बात अगर मैं करूं तो मैं पुलवामा, बारामूला, गांधरबल, अनंतनाग सब डिस्ट्रिक्ट्स में गया सर, क्योंकि मेरी तड़प थी कि मैं इस मधुमक्खी के काम में काम करूं। मगर कहीं पे मुझे उस टाइम पे सपोर्ट नहीं मिला। मैं एक बंदे के पास गया, लास्ट में डिपार्टमेंट ऑफ एग्रीकल्चर के पास गया और उन्होंने मेरा हाथ।
Viewers, the Prime Minister visited Kashmir today for the first time since the abrogation of Article 370. He addressed a gathering touted to be the biggest assembled in the valley after the law was struck down in August 2019. You can see those pictures. It just goes on and on as far as the eye can see, the row upon row of humanity. In his speech, the Prime Minister noted that the locals were breathing free in a new Kashmir that had been released from the discriminatory and stifling provisions of Article 370. Most importantly, the Prime Minister vowed to, quote, keep winning hearts of Kashmiris, unquote, by working hard to build upon the opportunities that had opened up after Kashmir's psychological and constitutional integration with the rest of India. Listen in.
मोदी प्यार के इस कर्ज को चुकाने में कोई कोर कसर नहीं छोड़ेगा। और मैं 2014 के बाद जब भी आया मैंने यही कहा, मैं ये मेहनत आपका दिल जीतने के लिए कर रहा हूं और मैं दिनों दिन देख रहा हूं कि मैं आपका दिल जीतने की दिशा में सही दिशा में जा रहा हूं। आपका दिल मैं जीत पाया हूं और ज्यादा जीतने की कोशिश मेरी जारी रहेगी। और ये मोदी की गारंटी है, मोदी सूझ गारंटी। और आप जानते हैं मोदी की गारंटी यानी गारंटी पूरा होने की गारंटी।
The Prime Minister's remarks were summarily dismissed by the opposition. Many among the NDA's political rivals expressed doubts about the Prime Minister's intent by questioning the lack of a verifiable record of work on the ground. Some, like the National Conference, also commented upon the fact that the crowds there were bussed in, had no option but to attend, that they had been brought in the early morning hours to create a mahal or an atmosphere for the Prime Minister. Other politicians from the opposition ranks have talked about scams, etc. in the state and said that while there have been many announcements, nothing is really metamorphosed on the ground. But the Prime Minister's guarantees, viewers, can't be dismissed out of hand, at least not when you look at the pre-370 and post-370 data the government has released for public scrutiny. Now, I'm not saying, viewers, I can't take onus for this data. It's all out there for you to see. But there are certain moves that have been made. For example, taking a step to make Kashmir more inclusive. Post 370 viewers, Gujjars, Bakkarwals, Pahadis are entitled to quota and jobs in education institutions which were not open to them, which would mean, viewers, that over a period of time it would lead to their economic prospects brightening, their educational prospects brightening, etc. Post 370 constituencies are reserved now for Gujjars, Bakkarwals and Pahadis, which means that perhaps they will get political representation to raise their concerns in the House when, viewers, statehood is restored in the near future and assembly elections are conducted. Then, viewers, let's not forget the first Shia Muharram procession was held 34 years after authorities banned it in 1989. Navratri Puja took place at the Sharda temple for the first time since 1947. Even when it comes, viewers, to youth being prioritized or opportunities being created for them, Jammu is the only city in the country to have an IIT, IIM and AIIMS all in one city, in one geography. Youth participation in sports grew from less than 2 lakhs during the 2018-2019 time period to 62 lakh in 2022 to 23. And we also know, viewers, that sports are now visibly being played more often than not in the valley, and we have, of course, photographic and other evidence to suggest that. Nearly 4.74 lakh candidates were engaged in career counseling sessions. 151 job fairs were conducted between 2020 and 2023, viewers. Integration is also deepening, i.e., Kashmir is becoming more and more economically integrated. And let's have a look at those numbers with the rest of India, with mainland India. Investment proposals, let's be clear, proposals of 88,000 crores versus total investment of 15,000 crores till 2019. So 88,000 crores worth of proposals, investment proposals to be cleared, to be fructified, vis-a-vis the 15,000 crores from 1947 to 2019 that were invested. You can look at that figure. Handicraft exports have doubled from 563 crores 21-22 to 1116 crores 2022 to 2023. 2.11 crore tourists visited in 2023. Now, you can't take away those numbers, viewers. They're very easily verifiable. Highest since independence. Obviously, they are bringing with them money to spend, and they're propping up an economy. Therefore, viewers, helping people earn an honest day's living. 4.45 lakh yatris have visited Amarnath Shrine in 2023. These are also tourists, inevitably viewers, pilgrims who spend in the local economy. It's the highest in the last 10 years, which also shows that there is a degree of confidence among people to visit the state without the fear of terror reprisals. 9 tourist routes and 30 trekking routes have opened in Jammu and Kashmir and Ladakh post 2019 because there are tourists to cater to. New flights from Srinagar to Sharjah and night flights from Jammu to Srinagar to other parts of the country. In fact, just recently 2 or 3 more routes just yesterday were announced, viewers. So connectivity is also increasing because people want to come. The peace dividend, there has been no stone pelting reported, viewers. There have been no hartals, mass strikes, that is. Which means, viewers, there is work actually happening. People are actually on the job. Road constructed from 158 kilometers per year, the pace, pre-2019 to 8,086 kilometers per year post 2019. New Banihal Tunnel and the Chenani Nashri Tunnel have been opened. 1.89 lakh houses constructed under PMA since 2019 compared to 24,000 since 1947. You can just look at those numbers. I mean, that is a huge, huge improvement. Tap water connections from 7.82 lakh pre-2019 to just 13 lakhs, double almost post-2019. The main Ravi Canal, Tral Lift irrigation scheme have been completed. Comprehensive flood management plan of River Jhelum and its tributaries, Phase 1 has been completed. World's highest railway bridge on the Chenab has been completed. Now, yes, the stones might have been laid, the foundation stones might have been laid in times before, but the work got done, viewers, because there has been peace. So there have been fewer interruptions, closures. And therefore, let's open this up. We have Lalit Ambardar, a Kashmiri activist. We have Tehseen Poonawalla with us. We have Charu Pragya. Tehseen Poonawalla, why is it becoming so hard now for people to accept that there is a Naya Kashmir? Now, you may not think it has reached the potential that you imagined it would, but it has only been, of course, 5 years. Where we've come from, the journey itself is remarkable. From absolute dissolution at one level to this massive upthrust of sentiment, I think you have to give it some credit. I mean, there are no, as I said, pelting. I mean, the number of terror incidents have come down.
Good evening, Rahul, again. Thank you so much. And for one, I've been a supporter of the abrogation of Article 370. So that's good, that part. And no government is totally bad or totally good. So this government has done some decent things. But as you put in your introduction, Kashmir hasn't reached its potential. Forget its potential. In my opinion, it's fallen far back. May I ask you very humbly, how many Kashmiri Pandit fellow citizens of ours today have settled down in Kashmir? The answer is 0. How many people from outside of Kashmir have bought lands in Kashmir? The answer is as many as the Honorable Prime Minister's press conference is 0. The fact of the matter is, yes, terrorism incidences have come down, even 1 is too many, and I'm not going that. Right now in Ladakh, another territory that was separated, the Honorable Home Minister just yesterday, and you must have covered him, promised Schedule 6, which is outsiders can't buy land and it has to be protected. So much for you were saying that you removed Article 370. I'm in support of it. But Ladakh is protesting, lakhs of thousands and thousands of people on the street. Now let's come to the issue of development. One factory, just one, I'm not asking for 5, one factory that's come in Kashmir. The answer again is 0. All those projects you mentioned, sir, were inaugurated by Prime Minister Manmohan Singh, started by Prime Minister Manmohan Singh. None started by Prime Minister Modi. And the proof of the pudding in any democracy is in the elections. If the Honorable Prime Minister believes the BJP has such popularity in Kashmir, Jammu and Kashmir, call for an election today. Why are you not calling for an election? Tell me another democracy, Rahul, where you don't have an election and a state is being run from Delhi. That is not democracy. The constitution of Jammu and Kashmir is being thrown out of the window. Therefore, the constitution of India applies wholly and fully.
Can I ask you a question? A counter question. You're talking about
please
the virtues of a merely electoral democracy, right? And you're saying that's the test. Isn't it? That's what
True.
you're saying? True.
It's
Now
the
tell me
ultimate
something.
test.
Now tell me something. Would you say that the Congress, the NC and the PDP won popular mandates in the valley at any time before 2019? Or they won by 2 or 3 or 4% of the total people who turnouts of that kind? Was that a
No, you're
popular
wrong.
mandate?
It was a popular mandate. In quite a
All
few,
right.
60-70% turnout.
Viewers, let me
you
tell
will see the records for yourself.
One second. Let me tell you,
In fact,
viewers.
the 2% turnout happened when the BJP was
One
in
second, viewers. Let me tell you this. That the very same people who would call for boycotts of the election were the very same people who were being interlocuted with for years altogether. By whom? The same ecosystem. Manishankar Iyer went and hugged a person who swore by Pakistan. It's on TV. Sitaram Yachuri, Mr. Azad, they all went and gale mil gaye. With whom? With people who were arming the future of Kashmir and our country with what? Am I wrong, Lalit Ambardar? Before I bring the BJP
yet the Prime Minister
in,
tried
you
buckets
have
for
been somebody who has been
Azad.
dispossessed. 1 second, sir. You have been dispossessed from your home, Mr. Ambardar. Tell me how things have changed. Would you like to go back?
You mentioned about Manishankar Iyer. Once upon a time, I have been at one stage. I used to say Pakistan has two diplomatic representations in India. One is Manishankar Iyer, and other is the Rawalpindi's High Commissioner in Delhi. He would speak. He has gone all the way. Not only begged this Hurriyat chief, Sayyid Ali Shah Gilani, Pakistani stooge, who Pakistan claimed in Dulat's joint book that he was our man in Srinagar, in India. That's what ISI chief had mentioned in that book. And he's the one who let Kashmir go into the cycle of death and destruction. And I'm so sorry and sad that he died a natural death. He should have been hanged to death. Number two, he talks about democracy. You mentioned about how many people they have been voting for. Can you imagine the present Lok Sabha member for Srinagar constituency? That is Sheikh Farooq Abdullah. You know how many votes he secured? 1 lakh. And how many votes the next candidate was from PDP? He got 30,000 votes. And the headline was Farooq Abdullah wins by 70,000 votes. He had just secured 1 lakh votes in Srinagar, the capital city. And today they are accusing the Narendra Modi for having blackmailed the government officials to come and join the program. This is what the democracy was. And democracy was a people's elected chief minister Farooq Abdullah. He fled, that covered fled on 19th of August 1990 when Kashmiri Hindus were being pursued and sought by jihadists holding AK-47 rifles. He went and left Kashmir. And you know what? For next 6 years, he did not show up in Kashmir. That was also democracy. But what I want to mention about something very important. See, 5th of August 2019 was a momentous day, historical day. Narendra Modi showed that political spine, I call it Sanatani Soch, that he abrogated that obnoxious piece of constitutional arrangement that allowed pan-Islamism inspired vociferousness to grow in Kashmir, which led to Kashmir Jihad. And the worst victims of Kashmir Jihad have been Kashmiri Hindus, aboriginal Kashmiri Hindus. Tools of genocide were murder, mass murder and rape, and gang rape. And what I talk about today is what began on 5th August 2019. It wasn't just that you would change the situation overnight. It is you started the process of
you started a process. For 70 years, viewers, we were trying a process where we were trying to win back those that had been co-opted by Pakistan, but no one bothered about that. That was okay.
Yes,
viewers, let me tell you something. Viewers, before I bring in Charu Pragya, let me just tell you something. By this logic,
you give me 10 seconds, Rahul.
Let me just tell you 1 second. Lalu Prasad Yadav, viewers, who did very little and admitted it for his own people. And when he was asked, he says, but I gave you a voice. The bar is set so low for people like Lalu Prasad Yadav by the Congress, etc. But for Modi, it's set here. They expect him to do everything that they failed to do in 70 years in 5. Viewers, it's a tough state. Kashmir is the most difficult terrain to A, run, administer because of all sorts of complications, and of course, a border that remains, viewers, remains vulnerable to cross-border attack. Don't forget, there is an external factor constantly working. But nonetheless, Charu Pragya, I don't want to speak for you, but the question is, where are the Kashmiri Hindus that are supposed to return? Where are the other bounties that Mr. Tehseen Poonawalla hoped would appear on the horizon and beset in the ground in Srinagar and other pockets of Kashmir?
Good evening again, Rahul. I'm going to take a very basic example. Construction takes time, development takes time, and destruction is done in a moment like this. And when we speak about the valley, when we speak about Kashmir, a bomb blast is done with the press of a button. But to construct this entire valley in a whole new way, to give a better life to the people, is going to take time, and we have been seeing that unfold with our very eyes for the last several years. I can go on and on about Kashmir. The beauty of today was seeing all these testimonials by people who were going to listen to their Prime Minister speaking. It was beautiful. Old women, young children, they're all talking with so much excitement. Another thing is the celebration of the tricolour. Every time we are celebrating a national festival, Kashmir is coloured with our tricolour. It's beautiful. In fact, Rahul Gandhi himself hosted the tricolour at Lal Chowk, and that is credits to Modi ji. I think that when the bar is set very high for Modi ji, as you just said, especially by those who are in the opposition, those who could do nothing for the people of Kashmir, it infuses him with more energy and more inspiration to do better. I have a lot of data I can give you, and you've given a lot of data yourself, but I'm just going to talk about 2 or 3 very important things. Stone pelting. It was a problem not only because stones were being pelted at our armed forces, it was a problem because that's where the energy of the youth was directed. From nearly 2,000 incidents in 2018, it's down to 0 this year. 0 in 2023. That's what I meant by this year. 0 incidents. Isn't that great? All these young people are doing other things, interesting things. We talk about roads, power, health, infrastructure, tourism, so many things to talk about. But let's talk about the fact that India could take the G20 delegates to Kashmir. Yeah. Could you have thought of that 5-10 years back? Absolutely not. Miss World had a program there. 120 women from 120 countries attended that.
Well, viewers,
and
look, we can keep going up and down dissecting the data, but sometimes the situation speaks visibly to us. You see the changed atmospheric. Sometimes that's all that is needed, and it's there before you. I'll take a short break.
Welcome to AU.
सफर आगे बढ़ता रहा।
नाजिम जी, देखिए, मधुमक्खी का ये व्यवसाय जो एक बिल्कुल नया क्षेत्र होता है और आप बहुत आसानी से कर सकते हैं, और उसके कारण फसल को भी बहुत फायदा होता है। यानी मधुमक्खी एक प्रकार के आपका फार्म लेबरर के रूप में भी काम करती है। तो आपके मधुमक्खी के इस काम के कारण किसानों को समझ आ रहा है कि आप उनकी भी मदद कर रहे हैं।
सर बिल्कुल, जब भी हम आसपास आज मधुमक्खी डाल रहे हैं, हमारे घर वाले बोल रहे हैं आपको जमीन चाहिए हम दे देंगे, आपको कोई सपोर्ट चाहिए हम दे देंगे। आपका ही फायदा नहीं जा रहा है बल्कि हमारा भी फायदा हो रहा है। इसलिए जब भी हम राजस्थान में जा रहे हैं, हम कोटा में जा रहे हैं सर, हम यूपी में जा रहे हैं, वहां हमें जमीन मुफ्त में दिया जाता है ताकि आप यहाँ पे लगाइए, हमारा फसल भी बढ़ेगा, आपकी आमदनी भी बढ़ेगी।
नाजिम जी, आप इतना सारा करते हैं, एक सुझाव मैं देता हूं, और आप ऑनलाइन भी करते हैं। सेंट्रल एशिया में जो हनी होता है, उन देशों में हनी, क्योंकि वहां भी ये हिंदू कुश पर्वत है सारे, वहां भी हिमालय की तरह ही सारी पर्वतमालाएं हैं, वहां की हनी का एक प्रकार अलग है, और मैं मानता हूं कि आप ऑनलाइन उसका स्टडी कीजिए। दूसरा, वे लोग अलग अलग टेस्ट के लिए अलग अलग फूलों के बीच में अपनी मधुमक्खी का पालन करते हैं। उसके कारण जो हनी मिलता है उसकी स्मेल, उसका टेस्ट उस फ्लावर जैसा मिलता है तो उनको बहुत बड़ा मार्केट मिलता है। मैं चाहूंगा, भारत में भी बहुत प्रयास हो रहे हैं, उत्तराखंड में भी बहुत सफलतापूर्वक प्रयास हुए हैं, और नाजिम जी आपने भी जरूर ऐसा किया होगा।
जी सर, हमारे जो कश्मीर का हनी है, बाकी जो स्टेट्स का, न्यूजीलैंड का, जो अदर कंट्रीज का हनी है, हमारे भारत का हनी इस टाइम पे नंबर 1 है। हमारे कश्मीर का एकेशिया पूरी डिमांड है सारी वर्ल्ड की सर। हमारे एकेशिया सर पहले 400 रुपया केजी था, इस टाइम पे वो 800 रुपए, 1000 रुपए तक पहुंच गया।
नाजिम जी, आपसे बात करके बहुत अच्छा लगा। आपने जो पहल की उसमें बहुत स्पष्टता और साहस चाहिए, और आपको स्टूडेंट लाइफ में इतना विजन आपका क्लियर होना, ये अपने आप में बहुत बड़ी बात है। मैं आपके माता पिता को भी प्रणाम करता हूं जिन्होंने आपकी ऐसी परवरिश की, और आपने हर चुनौती को चुनौती देते हुए, डट करके सामना करते हुए आप प्रगति कर रहे हैं। आप देश के नौजवानों को दिशा दे रहे हैं, वरना वो इंतजार करके बैठता है मेरे पास कुछ नहीं है। आपने इंतजार नहीं किया, आपने छोटी सी शुरुआत की, और आप आज देश की ताकत बन रहे हैं। मेरी तरफ से नाजिम आपको और आप जैसे युवाओं को मेरी तरफ से बहुत बहुत शुभकामनाएं।
थैंक यू सर। सर एक गुजारिश है मेरी सर, एक बार सर मैंने 2023 में KVIC के डिपार्टमेंट में सर मैंने वहां पे एक सेल्फी ली थी, सेल्फी विथ मोदी जी, मगर आज मुझे जी चाहता है कि सर उस सपने को भी मैं साकार करूं, उसको भी पूरा कर सकूं।
चलिए, मैं कोशिश करता हूं। मैं एसपी जी के लोगों को बोलता हूं, बाद में आपको इस तरफ ले आएंगे, जरूर मैं आपके साथ सेल्फी लूंगा।
शुक्रिया सर, थैंक यू सर, थैंक यू। इस टाइम पे मुझे ये 60,000 रुपए मिले, मेरे घर वाले भी बहुत खुश हो गए, मैं भी मोटिवेशन से फुल ऑफ पावर हो गया कि मुझे 60,000 रुपए मिले। और धीरे धीरे करके ये सफर मैंने सर आगे लिया, और धीरे धीरे करके मैंने 200 बॉक्स अपना कायम किए। वो 200 बॉक्स कैसे हो गए?
Viewers, in advance of Women's Day, some big announcements made today by the government after a cabinet meeting. Let's go straight across to senior political editor Pallavi Ghosh. Pallavi.
Yeah, this is a huge gift, and one of the flagship programs of the government has been the Ujjwala scheme, which has important implications, Rahul, in health-wise, in terms of modernization. But in case of just a day ahead of the Women's Day, which is of course tomorrow, there is this big gift which has gone in from the cabinet, which essentially has increased the Ujjwala scheme cover for the next 1 year. It has also increased the subsidy by 300 rupees per cylinder. It has also increased it now from 9 to 12 cylinders, which are going to be covered by this subsidy. This, of course, is a big decision which has been taken, but there's something for others as well. The DA rates have also been improved. Lots of stops have been given to Northeastern Regional Development. And I think the biggest of them all, in a sense, is for AI, in acknowledgement that artificial intelligence is something which is here to stay. It is very important in small towns. That was a stress which was given by the Union Cabinet. Facilities so that people living in small towns, villages can also have access to.
Well, thanks indeed, Pallavi, for that update. A big decision there, viewers. Obviously, it will enthuse women ahead of what is going to be a consequential elections. But just quickly focusing on Bengaluru, as the Bengaluru cafe blast investigation continues, fresh CCTV footage has emerged showing the suspect travelling inside a BMTC bus. Viewers, he's so collected and so calm. It's so diabolical. The police have accessed the CCTV footage and are suspecting there could be the Rameshwaram blast accused. The man is seen wearing a mask and a hat. He can be seen trying to evade CCTV cameras. The suspect later got down at Rameshwaram Cafe to plant the bomb. He was there for about 10 minutes. The suspect was reportedly then seen near a place of worship soon after the blast, which he triggered about an hour and 10 minutes later. NI investigators are probing if he met anyone or received any logistical support before he left Bengaluru. Reports suggest he may have travelled towards Bellary, where he was last seen. Also, after that, of course, viewers, no trace of this man. He is reported to have changed his clothes in a religious institution a minority religious institution which is also leading to the police speculating about his origins, his identity. We leave it at this. We'll go straight across for the right stand with Poonam Burde.
Hello and welcome. You're watching The Right Stand with me, Poonam Burde. 4.5 years after the abrogation of Article 370, Prime Minister Modi was in Srinagar today. He unveiled multiple developmental works during the Viksit Bharat, Viksit Jammu and Kashmir program. He was there to showcase the Kashmir success story, one that he chalked up to the removal of special status to Jammu and Kashmir. Before addressing the crowd that had gathered there, the Prime Minister visited an exhibition which showcased local products of the Union Territory. He distributed appointment letters, he interacted with women achievers, with farmers and with entrepreneurs. He even bowed down to the Shankaracharya Hill from a distance. But the highlight was his address at the Bakshi Stadium. Many say the fact that he addressed thousands of people in a stadium and not in an indoor convention centre like he has in the past is testament to the change that has come through. Now, Lok Sabha elections are just around the corner. The opposition parties are pushing through with their demand for elections in Jammu and Kashmir. The Prime Minister's visit has definitively acquired a keen political dimension. Has normalcy returned to Jammu and Kashmir? The figures suggest that to a great extent. But can those politicians who today question the Modi government's claims on Naya Kashmir ignore those facts? Does that mean all is well? No, there is much left to be done and no one is denying that. They ask if all is well.